Hello everyone and welcome to the Deepbluerenegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deepbluerenegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 57. Today is Sunday, September 21st, and it is a beautiful day, but I didn't really want to be outside, so here I am inside. So I don't know if this particular spot will work for a recording. I figured it was going to be at least halfway decent. The inside of my apartment is a little bit strange, so I was trying to figure out what the right place would be. So I have the darkness on one side, but that's just because I'm sitting next to the window as opposed to the other way. Today has, or what I'm saying, I've had an incredibly busy weekend. So I don't know if I really got as much knitting done as I was hoping for the week, but what can you do? I probably got a lot more done than I did last week, so. What was it? So I ended up going to 2 knitting groups this week. So there was the Friday group, and then I tried out a group on Wednesday. I think they meet far enough away that it isn't worth driving down, which was annoying because whatever. It seems like every time I go to a new knitting group around here, I somehow get stuck in traffic, and it's just horrible. I'm not a fan of that, but I don't know, not too much that I can do about it. So they met far enough into Dallas that it was inconvenient for me to go. But that meant that I ended up getting dedicated hours of knitting time, because it seems to be that when I go to knitting group, I'm there for a purpose and I get lots of knitting done. But lately, when I've been coming home, I've just been like so exhausted that I just sort of browse the internet for a while and then decide whether or not I want to do anything else. But I think that I did manage to actually get pretty good progress. So this is my Panchapani shawl. It is a pattern by Kitman Figueroa. I am knitting this out of Woolmisa in the 100% or pure. And I'm actually in the middle of the row right now. I didn't check to see where I was in my stuff before I started recording, so yeah, whatever. So this is the center part of the triangle right here. And then where's it edge? And so then here is whatever, one of those little triangle edges. So it is coming together. At least for now, I think I'm doing fine in terms of the tension of the cast on edge. I think it will be fine for blocking purposes. And mostly I'll probably just be opening it up quite a bit. And so I have been knitting away on that. What is it? What I want to explain was that as far as like projects go, this one it has been a rather long time since I've worked on a project that actually made me think. So it was a little bit strange to get, back into the groove of working on a project like that. So it was at least a little bit challenging in that regard, because it was like, I can't just go on autopilot on this. So I think this has only resulted in me ripping back most of a row once. It turned out that it was knitted lace instead of lace knitting, so that ended up making it more complicated. And the short answer is, what is it? It turns out that I was thinking, like, why in the world did they have all this? Did the chart have all of the wrong side rows? spelled out, and that is for a very good reason, is that there are some rows that have yarn overs and yarn overs and decreases on it, so you do have to pay attention. So it was full of silliness. And what is it? The other thing, whatever, it's just nice to be able to work on a project that's been waiting for a long time. Like if Joris the Dragon was knit out of my oldest skein of sock yarn, currently in my stash. Frangipani, I'm pretty sure, is the oldest pattern I had sitting in my stash. So there was a thought behind going ahead to do this project. And it's blue and it makes me happy. Very few things make me happy like blue. So it is coming together, so I don't know. And I could probably, no, I can't say. The chart's laying around somewhere else. Yeah, that's the other funny thing, for example, about like lace projects like that, is that on one hand you have the chart, but as long as the repeat isn't longer than you can like memorize per row, then it really ends up being fairly thoughtless, aside from at the beginning of every row you need to sit down and look and see what the pattern is and whether or not it starts to make sense. So it's whatever, it's a journey, but yeah, no, I'm trying to think of the last time that I worked on a project that was challenging in this way. I don't know, maybe the colorwork socks were challenging, but I don't know. In that case, it was, you just needed to follow the directions explicitly, which I guess that's what I'm doing for the shawl too, so I don't even know. But yeah, so it's nice to have a challenging project. It's nice to actually have the brain space for a challenging project. It's just been crazy pants. So I'm glad that things are finally starting to calm down and reach a steady state. Like 3 months after I arrive. I'm also working on the grandpa socks. This ended up getting a decent amount of attention at knit night because I realized at knit night that the shawl was knitted lace and required more concentration than I was willing to give after a glass of wine, so. What is it? The glass of wine and talking to people is too much. Just the glass of wine I can still work on lace, but. The combination, whew, too much. It looks like I'm due for another detangling right now. I sort of want to pick up and knit on it a little bit. So I'm actually getting this back onto pattern again. For some reason I ended up taking color 2 a couple of rows too many, so now I'm trying to get it back on track again. Seems like color 2 got to be pretty popular there for a while. And I still have, what is it, about this much more, you guys can see. So I have about this much more to knit on the leg before I start the heel, and probably I'll need to do whatever, a sanity check to make sure I'm not using way more yarn than I have. I'm just slightly nervous because this ball isn't all that particularly big, but it is 3 yarns working together, so it's probably fine. I'm just, whatever, mildly nervous. So this is Cranberry Biscotti. These are socks for my grandpa. I'm using 3 colors of Woolmisa Twin. I'm using Wazarots, Grafrots, and Dora. Let's see if I can, sun! I can slightly control the light inside. So that's actually pretty true to color there. It's really turning out pretty. I sort of wish that I was having Woolmisa socks. Except I have too many socks. So this is continuing onwards. I'm enjoying the fabric. I'm enjoying the knitting of it. It is what is it? I've been actually throwing both projects in my bag as carry-around projects, so it just sort of depends on what I have headspace for at the moment. And it's all just very full of shenanigans. I'm knitting these on zeros as well, so then that ends up also making it take, longer than usual for a pair of socks. So I'm knitting on zeros. I have 80 stitches on the needles right now, so that's a lot of stitches. And and it is delightfully mindless as well. So you would think that a 3-color sock would not be mindless, but with that addictive little slip stitch pattern, it makes it really easy to pick up and put down, and it's not a very, because it does have colors, it's not something you can really work on in the dark, because you do need to look down and see what colors you're using at the moment, but it's not a deal breaker in the grand scheme of things. And what else about these stocks? And I screwed up the color combination, but I dare you to find it. Dare ya to figure out if something's not quite right here. So it is fault tolerant socks as well, which is pretty nice. So that does it for my knitting projects right now. Let's see. And I ended up doing actually a decent amount of spinning this week as well. And that was just the case where, a lot of my free time, what little free time I had whenever, the past 3 weeks, was spent actually reading a webbed serial book. If you guys are interested in reading it, its title is called Worm. It is the story of a girl who has the superpower of being able to control the insects around her. And it's just, the beginning is okay, but then as the person as the person grows as a writer, it ends up getting better and better and better, and you're sucked in. And I ended up reading the follow-up blog post on it. It turns out that, so if you say the length of a normal book is, I don't know, somewhere between 60,000 to 90,000 words. So, a chapter book maybe about this thick. Apparently, that book that I just finished reading online was 22 books. So, that was bad for knitting time and sleeping and all sorts of other horrible things, which meant I fell behind on podcasts, which meant that normally I spin while I'm watching podcasts, and so I didn't really spin much for those particular weeks. But now that I'm done reading the book, and it was a good book, and you guys should read it if you're interested in superheroes. I know, I love superheroes. I've never, superheroes are normally something that you see in comic books, not like a novel. I've never seen a novel about superheroes before, so it was fun. But I ended up doing quite a bit of spinning while I was catching up with the Knit Girls. So I was a month behind with them, so I think I'm now, I'm not caught up yet though. I could, while I'm finishing doing the post-processing for the video, end up catching up totally with the Knit Girls, and then move on to the Mustache Girls. Oh my gosh. So far behind. But I started off with the Knit Girls, so, So I ended up, getting probably at least 2.5 hours of spinning done this week, which is lovely. And I'm going to be getting even more spinning done this week, so that'll be nice. So I'm still working on the Redfish Dye Works. Oh, that broke. the redfish dye works, merino silk. I don't remember if it has a colorway name. I don't think it did. So this is going right along. Try to show you what it all looks like. I don't even know if you guys can really tell. So I'll try to catch as much light as possible. So for the most part, what this is coming in as is purple with like flecks of like blue and stuff like that, which is quite gorgeous. And I'm still working on the first half of the 4 ounces. But the ball is getting smaller. And it's really fluffy and likes to stick to itself and stick to the outside of my bag and all that other fun stuff. Because it is extra fine merino. So it's spinning right along. And what is it? I also decided that it was finally time to try out my new Turkish spindle, which is sort of funny. I didn't end up looking up how you were supposed to wind the cop on as you were spinning initially, so I was just sort of making something up. And then I ended up finding, like, I realized that maybe something wasn't quite right, and I don't think it was tragically not right. I think it's going to be okay. But then it was a case where, like, oh, maybe I should do this right. So, what is it? Maybe it would be a little bit more even if, whatever. So this is my new Turkish spindle. It is 45 grams. And it is so strange to, what is it? Spin on this and then switch and go to my other spindle, because this is like so much lighter in comparison. And this is like a really big Turkish. I don't remember off the top of my head who was the woodworker. What I really like about it, now that I've been spinning on it, is that the paddles, for lack of a better word, end up having this sort of like tiger stripey appearance to it, so I think that's really cool. And so, what was it? So I was doing, I don't even know what it was that I was doing. I think I was going like over, under, over, under, over, under. But apparently the appropriate way to wind onto a Turkish is you do 2 high, 1 low, 2 high, 1 low, and that ends up evenly distributing the fiber to create your cop. And I guess the cop for a Turkish spindle is called a turtle. So this ends up making it so that most of the fiber is on top. Excuse me. And then, what is it? And because this doesn't have a hook, what I end up doing is I make a little slip knot to, or I make a little, not a slip knot, a half hitch in order to spin with this, but that's not too big of a deal. And what is it? So then I've been spinning the fiber that I ended up, that it was packed in. And I still have actually quite a bit of this fiber. So this is pinks and purples and stuff like that. And then I have this much more left of it. So it looks like there's maybe some other blips of color in there as well. And then I'll try it and do something. I don't know. It's just whatever, like a getting to know you phase. So it is spinning, what is it? I'm spinning it probably a bit unevenly right now, but delightful variations are the spice of life. But what is it? I'm still getting used to the motions that are involved in using the Turkish. So, so it'll be the case like when I'm winding the cop on, like I need to sit down while winding on the cop. So that ends up making it maybe a little bit more challenging because I ended up getting my method down for the top whirl spindle. So, I don't know. it's still a learning process. I won't pack it with me on the trip I'm going on this week because I'm afraid I'm going to break the tip off if I end up packing it in a bag. So, because it's pretty small diameter at the tip of this guy, so I don't really want to hurt this thing. So it'll probably be something that whatever goes with me in a bag or something like that, not necessarily on trips. Anything else about this? So I'm fairly sure what I'm spinning is merino. It's soft and fluffy. I don't think it's super fine merino. And whatever, it's enjoyable to have a little change of pace. Anything else I wanted to talk about this? Yeah, so this was just spur of the moment last night. I decided it was time to spin on the new spindle. So I'm glad that I've finally gotten around to it. And we'll see how much fiber I can pack onto this. I'm sort of curious how that's going to end up going. And also like how it's going to change spinning as I put stuff on it. That's also interesting to me as well. Grab the coffee back again. So, what is it? Life has been pretty crazy. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm going to be going on a trip next week. So I had to work this weekend, which sucked. Because I need to help my husband move. Because he's going to be, so his first day is not this Monday, but next Monday. And then it made sense in terms of a logistics perspective to have the movers come to pack up our old house so that we can go directly into our new house. And unfortunately, because, the only day that we ended up needing to schedule it so that one of the days was the day when my husband was the last day, the last day my husband works at his old job, which meant that I needed to come out in order to coordinate the movers. So, and because I don't have that much vacation, I accumulate it every month. But, what is it? It's only like a couple of hours every month, so I hadn't saved up enough vacation to take 3 days off in a row. Like, decadent. So I ended up working yesterday and today, and I'm going to use up the rest of my vacation as well, so. So I'm going to be flying to Indiana, coordinating the move, and then I'm going to be driving down with my husband and his best friend with all of the fish. So Indiana to Texas, bam. And then we're going to be setting stuff up at least temporarily for getting everything set up for the temporary fish placement until the fish can go back into their fish tanks. So it's going to be a really crazy week, and I'm a little bit bummed that I didn't have like a chill weekend beforehand. What this means for the recording schedule is that I'll be recording again next Sunday, which will be 28th. And I can't see any reason why I wouldn't record. Unless it was like really crazy, I'm not sure. But it shouldn't be a big deal. I'm really looking forward to next Sunday. It's going to be a stressful but happy week. Silliness. So what is it? So in terms of projects, I think I'm actually doing pretty good. So I will bring my Redfish Dyeworks Merino Silk to, to the airport. I ended up needing to get a one-stop flight instead of a non-stop flight, so that means extra spinning time. Oh, silliness. And then I'm pretty sure that the Grandpa Socks and the Frangipani are going to be perfectly entertaining projects for car knitting, and I'm stressed out knitting and stuff like that. I know I shouldn't be that stressed out, but it's still, no, a little bit stressed. It isn't like, what is it? The good news is that the movers are packing everything, so it isn't, you know, that level of stress. You're like, oh my god, I didn't leave enough time to pack. Like that's another part of it. It's more like making sure that everything we want to be packed is not attached to anything. Much less stressful. And all of the important things are already here. Like the stash, already in Texas. What is it? All of my spices, already in Texas. So all we need is the husband in Texas, and we'll be doing pretty good. Is there anything else we need to talk about? What was it? I don't think so. So I'm probably not going to cast on anything new. I'm not going to start any new spinning projects because that's going to be full of crazy pants. I am considering signing up for the Super Summer Knit Away. I still need to talk with my husband about whether or not it's a good use of our money. But he tends to be pretty supportive of my knitting related endeavors. And I think that what is attractive about SSK to me is that it's very introvert friendly. So it'll be the case where if I need to be alone by myself for a little while, I can do that. And it sounds like based on the announcements for the teachers and stuff like that, that it will be a really cool event. So whatever, from the craziness of me trying to go to the knitting pipeline retreat and totally missing it and full of shenanigans, I'm like, you know what? We can do this. And in terms of the odds of being able to go, I would say the odds are quite high. It seems like once you get in the lottery, it's as long as your schedule permits, you should be able to go. And yeah, so I still need to double check that. But if you guys are also interested in going, signups end on the 30th of September. So you guys have 7 more days to sign up if you're interested in going. And I would love to meet you guys. I want to meet you all. If you're there, like, totally, that would be awesome. So, yeah. Yeah, no, because the other thing I think is also in that is I'm not necessarily a buy all of the things sort of person. So to go to, for example, a different fibery event like Rhinebeck, for example, like the main draw for Rhinebeck is shopping. And what is it? At least for the time being, I have limited funds. We ended up basically going all in on the house, which which makes it a little bit harder to justify the luxury purchases. But in 9 months from now, I'll have money again and it'll be good. So that is the story there. So we'll just say for now I'm planning on signing up, and I really hope that you guys consider signing up as well. Because there's plenty of time to save, whatever. It'll be good. Anything else I want to talk about? Yeah, so I'm going to be recording again on the 28th, hopefully. And I'll probably be recording in the apartment. We'll see whether or not I can get the Dear Sweet Purple one to go somewhere else for a little while. I don't like recording when he's around. But oddly enough, for most of the podcast, he hasn't been around. Oh, silliness. So I'll have to make up a plan maybe when he's dropping his best friend off at the airport. That'll be good. And what is it? We'll see whether or not I can continue to coerce his best friend into knitting. Yeah, no, the short answer is that he's actually, whatever, my husband's best friend is one of the guys who I ended up teaching knitting. So I need to check up on him and make sure he finished the baby hat he started, and all that other fun stuff. He's very fascinated by spinning as well, so maybe I can continue to suck him in. Evil laugh. So I hope you guys have a really wonderful week. And yeah, that's it. So take care, guys. Bye bye.